Hi, I'm Elliot Franks from Sterling Vault Auctioneers, and today I want to talk to you about 4 super rare vintage Rolex Daytonas. Rolex Daytona Paul Newman 6239. The Paul Newman Daytona is one of the most iconic and sought after vintage Rolex watches. Models with the exotic Paul Newman dial are particularly rare and valuable, and in the past decades this Rolex chronograph has become the grail to many collectors and a pillar of the vintage watch collecting community. Their iconic white and black dials coupled with the stylized font make them instantly recognizable. But what sets a Paul Newman Daytona apart from a regular Rolex Daytona? The key is in the dial. These dials, referred to as exotic dials, feature a contrasting outer minute track and stylized font on the numerals in the subdials with small squares at the end of the hash mark. It's estimated that for every 20 standard dial Daytonas sold, only 1 exotic dial Daytona was sold. It wasn't until the world discovered this was Paul Newman's choice of chronograph that demand skyrocketed. Newman wore one of these watches during much of his personal life, and according to legend, he wore one during a photo shoot for an Italian magazine. Due to Newman's star power and strong Italian collector and dealer network, these peculiar dial Daytona chronographs soon picked up their now famous Paul Newman nickname. Today, these unconventional dials are one of the most desirable traits in the world of watch collecting. The watch he wore in many iconic photos recently fetched nearly $18 million at Phillips in New York. The Rolex Daytona Oyster Sotto Ref.16520. The stainless steel chronograph from 1969 features an extremely rare tropical Paul Newman dial. It showcases a rare outer red seconds division track, making it particularly sought after. Its other typical Paul Newman dial features include Art Deco style Arabic numerals, squared markers on the subdials. This reference with its tropical dark brown dial is one of only 2 pieces, both of which carry the name Oyster Sotto, which translates from the Italian oyster, underneath. This is because on the dial the word oyster is underneath cosmograph. These 2 oyster case Daytonas mark the very first Paul Newman style dials to have the increased water resistance thanks to the screw down pushers. The Oyster Sotto Cosmograph Daytona sold for 1.985 million Swiss francs in Phillips in 2016. Next is the Rolex Daytona 6241 John Player Special. This Rolex Daytona is distinctive for its black and gold color scheme, which is highly sought after by collectors. There are quite a few Rolex Daytona nicknames, but the John Player Special refers directly to the rare yellow gold reference 6241. The watch itself looks like the iconic black and gold race cars for the Lotus Formula 1 team, which was sponsored by John Player & Son Special cigarette brand. Because of this resemblance, the 6241 naturally earned the nickname John Player Special Daytona. Rolex Daytona 16520 Patrizzi Dial. Patrizzi Dial refers to a specific discoloration from subdials of some vintage Rolex Daytonas. While not everyone's preference, some collectors seek these out for their distinctive dials. The Patrizzi Dial deserves particular attention because it's one of the rarest and most expensive variations. A Patrizzi Dial features counters that have oxidized and turned brown. The dial got their name from the first man to recognize this color changing phenomenon, Oswald Patrizzi. Originally a watchmaker and restorer, Patrizzi founded Antiquorum in 1974. In 2006, when Oswald Patrizzi decided to sell off his Rolex collection, he had one of the mid-90s Daytona models amongst his haul, and it was that he discovered the discoloration effect. The anomaly was not only an attractive feature on an already sought after watch, it also gave each individual piece its own character, instantly attracting the attention of hardcore collectors. That first example of a Patrizzi dial sold for double its initial estimate, and these unique Patrizzi dials have ever since been valued by vintage Rolex collectors. That was just a few of some very rare vintage Rolex Daytonas. The Daytona stable is wide and vast with as many variations as you could possibly count. We're lucky enough to see many Rolex Daytonas come through, from Zenith, Patrizzi dials, bicolors, gold, ceramic bezels. There's always something new to look at. It's a really fascinating topic and I hope you've enjoyed this video.